welcome back to the Woodworking Talk Show. And before we get started, I wanted to thank the sponsor of this episode. This is a good one. Hey, Bob, you know how other podcasts have like big tool companies or hardware companies?
Yeah.
Okay, so this episode is sponsored by a company that offers the best precision engineered tools in the world. You want to take a guess?
Oh, man. I would hate to be wrong.
Okay.
So, go ahead.
It's the best precision engineered tools in the world for your family jewels.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Curious?
I'm talking about Manscaped. That's how this show rolls.
Cool.
Well, you see, weren't expecting that, were you?
No, I was not. No.
Guys, get into the 21st century. This ain't the 80s any longer. The days of just letting everything grow like a Neanderthal are long gone, unless you're a bear. That's different. No judgment. Some of my best friends are bears. So Manscaped just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. That's a perfect grade point average.
Wow.
The Lawnmower 4.0 is a sleek, well-designed and optimized trimmer that makes shaving a breeze. It's rechargeable and waterproof, so you can use it in the shower. And guys, this is not the same shaver you use on your face. Gross. It's got ceramic blades with advanced skin-safe technology, so you can feel confident shaving everywhere else. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code TWTS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code TWTS. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the right job with Manscaped. Bob Clagett was a software engineer who started his YouTube channel back in May of 2013 and was able to ditch his day job after just 2 years. Wow. I Like to Make Stuff is a variety DIY channel featuring woodworking, metalworking, leatherwork, home improvement, programming, electronics, prop making, 3D printing, a little bit of auto mechanics, and that's lately been doing some auto mechanics. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And the channel also features a large dose of Star Wars and Legos.
Yes.
and to give you an idea of this diversity, over the past 8 years, Bob has made a katana, a secret room, don't tell anybody, a greenhouse, an R2-D2 from Star Wars, an arcade cabinet, a longboard, a zipline, beds, toys, games. I mean, that's just a fraction of his catalog of over 400 videos. Wow. In addition to that, Bob is the co-host of 2 podcasts, the long-running Making It and the No Instructions podcast. And somehow he has time to juggle all of this with a wife and 4 kids. Hey, Bob, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, man.
Do you consider making videos as equal a maker activity as making things?
No, I think they're totally different, honestly. I mean, I guess they're the same in that, you know, sewing a shirt is the same as making a cabinet. You're still making a thing. You're still problem solving. You're still taking something and turning it into something else. But like for me, video is not my medium of choice, but it is the medium of choice to get the things that I'm interested in to other people. So, and I've been blessed enough to have some people that I've been able to work with, and then we've got a little team, and their passions are shooting video, making things look amazing. And so like that's their form of making, and so I get to fall back a little bit more to the stuff that I feel is more me, you know, the actual hands-on type stuff.
How many people are on your team now?
So there's 4 of us full-time, and then my wife is part-time. She does like shipping and stuff, and then we've got a couple contractors that do editing for podcasts and things like that.
So you just bought a new building, and that's an impressive looking space. That is just a huge. Yeah. And so what are the plans for that? I saw your video and it didn't sound like you were revealing completely what all you were going to do with it. Are you moving your shop over there?
No, the shop's going to stay here.
You're not?
No, we don't want to change. I'm not trying to like just amp everything up and like get a warehouse and, you know, industrial shop or anything like that. The biggest thing, honestly, was that my basement, since we moved into this house, has been business. And we filled up every corner of the basement's the size of the whole house, and we filled up every bit of it. And so a big part of this was just kind of trying to separate work from home a little bit, not fully. Give some of the house back to the kids. So, because like on the other side of this wall where I'm looking, this was my grandparents' house when I was growing up, and I bought it after my grandfather passed. And in that room at Christmas and Thanksgiving and stuff, we would come over and play pool. And so it was me and my cousins in that room, and I have so many memories of having a good time there. And since we've moved into this house, I've monopolized that room completely for podcasts and, you know, this and that. And when I look in there, I think, man, there should be a pool table in there for my kids to use. And they need to have that room. It's just a room, doesn't matter, but I don't need to have all this. You know, these offices, the podcast stuff, all that can go somewhere else. It doesn't need to be in the home anymore. So that's really the biggest thing. And on top of that, we're also, we want to make stuff to sell. We want to make tools, not like screwdrivers and tools, but we want to do things to enable other people to make stuff. That's the point. That's the point of all this. And so we can't do that in a basement. And so another use for that space is having a place to focus on designing things, manufacturing things that we can do in-house as much as possible, have a place to ship things and not worry about clogging up my mailbox. You know, it's right. We need a place that can focus on that stuff that is independent of me and of my home and my schedule, that kind of stuff.
Let's talk about making things. Is there a technique, a craft, anything that you haven't tried on your channel that you'd like to just give a shot?
Oh yeah, there's still tons of stuff. I mean, we were actually talking the other day about maybe doing a series of things that I'm afraid of, because I think there's a bunch of types of things to make and a bunch of skills that I just haven't really, even if I've tried them before, I'm nowhere near comfortable. Like I bought a Bridgeport because I was really interested in doing metalwork and milling and just understanding. It feels like a whole different world to me. And then maybe that's because I don't have any experience in it. And I bought this Bridgeport, and I've had it for maybe a year and a half, and I've used it a couple of times. I'm terrified of it. Like it's huge and loud and sharp, and I'm scared of it, you know? And so I would like to be able to take any tool that I have and feel comfortable enough that, oh yeah, there's a thing I want to make. I can go to the tool and I can figure it out. And that one and the metal lathe that I have are both just really scary to me. Like I don't want to get hurt. And so I would really like to learn how to use those things safely and feel confident enough to use them or to figure them out. You know, I think a lot of other tools you can kind of muddle your way through and figure it out as you go along, but you're not going to die in the process. And like those two, like I'm a little scared. But then there's even other stuff like sewing. I would love to be comfortable sewing, and I've only done it a couple of times. So I don't really have the.
Do you have a sewing machine?
Yeah, we have one, and I've done some leather sewing, but
you just recently had a leather video. I think your most recent video was making a leather tool pouch.
Yeah. For some reason that seems simpler than like a real sewing machine and neat seams and, you know, how to overlap things to get them to fold correctly and stuff. Like there's a bunch of details there that I really respect when I see my mom. I grew up with my mom sewing, and she made a bunch of clothes for us and costumes and all sorts of stuff. And they were always so well done. And that seems really far off without a whole lot of practice. So there's a bunch of things like that that, you know, I feel like I would really need to just focus on for a long time to be able to do them well. But
sewing seems so freehand to me. When I see somebody running a seam or something, I always feel like there should be a rip fence there or something. Like, how do you keep that straight? Do you just not?
Yeah, I don't. So that's
Maybe that's it. We need to come up with rip fences for sewing machines. Maybe I don't know. Was there ever a time where you started building something and you just threw in the towel? You're like, oh, man, this is not working out.
Yeah, I tried to make a Frisbee launcher, which other people have made successfully. So it's me. I'm the problem. But I tried to make one, and I looked at how other people had done it, and there's a bunch of different ways that people have done it. I tried to replicate one for proof of concept, and it just like didn't really work. And so then I tried something totally different. Didn't really work, and we spent a couple of weeks trying to get this thing to really launch, and it just didn't work. Like, you'd get a couple of feet. It was like the of frisbees. Like, it just was not a good frisbee launch. And that thing, the mechanism that we kind of cobbled together, is still in the garage. It's sitting in there. So someday when I have a light bulb, I can go in there and try to make it work. But that was a failure.
Have you always been into Lego, by the way?
Since the beginning.
Yeah,
Yep.
Your whole life.
I actually found a picture a couple of days ago where I was probably 3, and it's marked at the bottom, Bobby's first Lego set or something like that. And it's me holding this big Lego box from, I don't know, 1970 or something. 73 or what year would that be? I was born in 77, so it wasn't one of those. 1980 is when it would have been. Yeah.
And they didn't really have like model kits back then that I remember. I just remember you get like a box of Lego and you would just build whatever you wanted with all.
It was just a bunch of blocks.
Yeah. I was reading somewhere, I don't know if this is true or not, that the most printed word ever might be Lego, because it's printed on every stud of every brick, and there's just like billions of bricks around. So I don't know if that beats out the word "the" or not, but it could be.
It could be. I've also heard that they're actually the largest, for quantity, they are the largest tire manufacturer in the world.
That's right. Yeah, I haven't thought of that. What would you think is the most important skill everybody should know if they want to make things? It would be like across the board. If no matter what you want to make, this is going to be helpful.
Oh man, I think being able to brainstorm a couple of steps ahead in problem solving, for me, has been one of the most beneficial things. Not to just look at how do I stick these two things together, but if I stick these two things together in this way, what is that going to cause 2 or 3 steps down the road?
Interesting.
I think, just taking the time to imagine what could be if you do something a certain way. It's not necessarily going to be right, but at least you're not just focusing on the problem that's right in front of you. You're thinking about a couple of more problems. And I think especially once you get into mixing material types and, different skill sets and stuff, you have to think how they relate to each other. And that's something that always really interested me, is thinking through a project before I actually do anything. And I don't always do that.